don't have the old days body. That's some bad driving. That dude zipped through 3 lanes of traffic, zipped around again. Or at least Herbie Hancock is coming in clear. Ten minutes. 20 minutes remaining. In the old days, I could do a mile in 15. Plus, I guess this is a way to test out the image stabilization on this camera. My back's been feeling pretty good, so. All right. and observe. No, that door's always open. One of the things that happened in my neighborhood is that when they had the squatters, they would never close the door. In fact, sometimes they would just take the door off because they used it for something else. But it didn't matter because there was always somebody in the squatter house. There were always several someones in the... But they wouldn't be that dumb because it's right there where the public could see it. There'd be a lot of I mean, the only way they can get away with that, they could have foot traffic, they just couldn't have, they couldn't have, red flag went off. They could have foot traffic, but they definitely couldn't have car traffic. Having roof and foundation problems over there. Siding's coming out too. I think this is one of the, that's the old metal, when I was talking about the kit house, that's it. Like that's one of the leftovers from Clint Murchison. This is like the original 1940s steel house. And they built that using a kit. And it would come the walls and everything would come prefabricated. They'd pour the foundation, slab foundation here, back in those days. And then after pouring the slab foundation, they would put the metal reinforced, the steel girders and everything in there, the steel frames in there. And then I guess Texas had like a building code that said you had to put stucco on the walls, reinforced concrete. My guess is to mitigate the storms. Well, anyway, I don't know. For some reason on my house they did that. They put brick and concrete along with rebar and a steel frame. Put a metal roof on that bad boy. That's what I want. I think I see it. That's another one of the original houses. It's got steel panels. Okay.
Hello.
The streets are in good shape over here. Curbs. There we go. There's your red flag. This is private property. Private property, no trespassing. That sign is leaning. And it's got a bullet hole in it. Is it leaning because everything shifted? Yeah. Kind of loose too. And hey, let me turn and go on the sidewalk. Oh, there is no sidewalk. So according to the Texas Transportation Code, in the absence of a sidewalk, I have to go against the grain of traffic. If no perfect, and that's the caveat, if no perfectly good sidewalk exists. Did it say perfectly good? I think it just says if there's no sidewalk. Or accommodating pedestrian structure or something like that. The point is, I put a request in for sidewalk all around here. That was one of my first tickets before I got really active in it. I just wanted sidewalks. So on Linda, they put the caps on there. So I guess the code says you have to have caps on it, and they redid all of this. Oh, this looks good. They poured the concrete and they put the caps on. The curbs are brand new. People have already nicked them a few times. Anyway, put in a request to have sidewalks here, and they put me on they always say that. They go, we'll put you on the needs list. We'll put it in the master plan. And after looking at what Strong Towns was talking about, I realized that's the brush off. They basically saying if we ever get money, we might think about taking care of that. Right now, Dallas is too busy building houses, and the city's still thinking about cars. And that was one of the things they talked about in the meeting yesterday, was how they were trying to rezone this area is off of Lover's Lane. Rob was here. Not many Robs left, so that's special. It was John Bois talking about the disappearance of Bob's. Anyway, they were talking about the meeting Lover's Lane. Is Lover's Lane where that church is. They want to rezone and like build more parking, because I guess they're going to expand some kind of school or something over there. And the residents are like, hell no, it's already bad enough as it is. And so you still have people with this mentality of we still have to build for parking. We still have to build for parking. Everything's just, and I was sitting there pointing out, I said, you know, this kind of shows that how what they talk about when car-centric hells is everybody's protesting and mad about the fact that you're going to put more parking and make the neighborhood an eyesore, or put an eyesore in the neighborhood. And all the while, nothing gets discussed about why aren't they busing the schools in? Why aren't they busing the kids in? Why aren't the kids riding a bike, or why aren't the kids walking to the school? Instead, it's a discussion as to there's no transit lines. The point I'm trying to make is you're sitting there wasting all that space putting in a parking lot that might get used every once in a while. Oh, there's a dead possum. It might get used every once in a while, instead of being able to put something in there that everybody can use on a regular basis. And it kind of bugs me because, it bugs me because about 2 miles away, there's a like park and ride over there off of Lovers. From that location, that shopping center over there off of like Inwood and Lemon. Or no, excuse me, Inwood and Lovers. I haven't had much sleep, so I'm all babbly. But Lover's Lane itself, they don't like a lot of traffic going down there, so they made it like 2 lanes in each direction. If they wanted to reduce it even further, they could just put a dedicated bike lane, and they could put a sidewalk over there. And then that was the one thing that the reporter from Candy's Dirt was talking about, how, I can't remember if it was a significant other or something, but it was along lines of, she kind of implied that he was disabled, and that he had a hard time walking down Lovers because they've got these old curbs there. Which reminds me, since you mentioned that, I'm gonna try to make a trip down there, and then I took it in for ADA. And I think she said she did the same thing, and they put her on the needs inventory list. There's another one of the steel houses. I bit the bullet, and I bought I'm now firmly planted in the 4K era. I got 2 new cameras. I might get a 3rd so that I can record in 3D. Not because I have to, but just I like to play around a little bit. That's a pretty kitty. Like this. Put in a ticket. I don't feel like it, but I probably should. Yeah, that's bad. Everything underneath is sinking, so they're gonna have to tear that out and re-pour it. All of this is bad. They patched this, and then the patch is coming up. So yeah, they need to repave Larga. And what I'm hoping is that when they do it, they build it in such a way that it discourages stuff like this. I don't know, it needs a lot of things. It needs road humps. Did I put a ticket in for road humps on Larga? Probably need to. And that's 30 minutes. At least it will be when I get back home. What pisses me off is that I am not in control of my environmental space. I have a lot of chaos going on. I got people just dropping in, yakking my ear off for an hour, and I was like, you had no idea what my plans were. You didn't call, you didn't ask. I'm having technical issues. Most of my technical issues are with Kden Live. Like 4K videos, about 30 minutes to an hour, take up a byte, between 20 and 30 gigabytes. It's a big file. My typical 1080p videos, I think they max out at like 10 or 14 megabytes, and that's if you're doing like, or gigabytes, and that's if you're like doing 2 hours and 3 hours worth of video. Not to mention that they're big. Not only are they big, but they also, doing 4 things at once here. Not only are the files big, but it takes hours to render them. I've been experimenting with hardware acceleration. Hardware acceleration seems to cut it down from like 8 hours or half a day to 3 hours. And then I would have quality issues. So it's not like I film great stuff, but at the same time, I'm gonna start sounding like that one guy. If I paid for a 4K camera, I want 4K video. It just feels like we're not there yet. Like, this is how I felt when I went from 720p to 1080p, and the hardware and the computers just weren't there yet. Anyway, that's 30 minutes. I'm done.